What's something that is romantic in movies, but creepy in real life? Stopping someone's wedding and asking them to be with you. Really? You couldn't shoot your shot before the wedding? It's not a surprise event. You're really going to embarrass everyone involved and destroy their wedding day when you could have just showed up last Wednesday? Or ditching your wedding at the last minute for some woman you only met once. Looking at you. Serendipity. There was a Ben Affleck Sandra Bullock movie in the 90s that I loved. Because Affleck is trying to get to his wedding and, due to a comedy of errors, falls in with Sandra Bullock on a crazy cross-country trip full of shenanigans. Of course. He gets there and goes in to tell his wife that the wedding is off and he's in love with Bullock. But then, he sees her, remembers why he loves her, and goes through with the wedding. At the time, I thought it was a bullshit ending. In retrospect, I love it because it makes so much more sense. And it totally subverts the Hollywood trope. Forces of nature. I don't like nor remember practically any rom-com type movies. But as soon as I read this thread, it was the first one I thought of. Saw it as a teenager bored watching HBO, and I remember the ending surprising me due to how against the Hollywood marriage trope it was. A not great movie with a great ending. Those elaborate plots that trick the other person into falling for you. How do you even trick a person to fall for you if they are not into you? That's never going to work. Yet in movies it always does. And the trick part implies it's lying to or forcing the other person. How is that in any way a healthy base for a relationship of any kind? This isn't a movie, but I always think of the Tumblr post where you give someone their favorite candy every time you see them, and then they are Pavlov's dog into liking you. So you basically just Stardew Valley them. Hey, I found this in the mines last night. You should have it. Casually stalking who they are pursuing. Especially if they are a police officer or FBI agent and they just casually look up their interest in the database. That's illegal. I think anything like that breaks the law is stalking. Since stalking is a criminal offense. So looking up a person in a government database so you could send them flowers would be stalking. Asking their friends for an address would probably not be. But if I were the friend I wouldn't give it. Every male in the entire village always hitting on the one single blue female. Their trains always ran on her schedule. Though, oh, of course. They may be sexual deviants. But they aren't impolite by any means. Smurfette is always treated like the lady she is. Never being pressured into more blue sausage than she can handle. Breaking into your crush's house and laying on their bed. Movies. AWW he misses her, that's sweet. Real life. You going to jail. Literally everything in the 50 Shades movies. Accurate every misconception possible about BDSM. But dressed up for horny middle-aged housewives. If 50 Shades was set on a trailer park, it would be an episode of Criminal Minds. 50 Shades is to BDSM as Game of Thrones is to wedding planning. An overdramatic proposal in front of a bunch of strangers. There was a scene in Love, Simon where one of Simon's best friends is subject to a public proposal in front of the entire school, and she then has to suffer the horror of publicly turning him down, because she doesn't like him in that way. I sunk down in my chair in the cinema, and had to look away. Super cringe. But at least they actually showed how that would play out realistically. I had a guy ask me out in front a third of the school before one of the 3 lunch blocks. With a huge sign that took multiple people to hold. I cried, which he mistook as happy tears, and assumed we were dating now. I had to super awkwardly let him down once we were alone. I can totally relate. In 6th grade, one boy enlisted the whole class to ask me to be his girlfriend, which I said no, because I was more scared of my mom, who had made it clear, no dating before 16, than I was of being ostracized. They tried for 2 weeks, and by the end, realized how strict my mom was, and I was never asked out again all through my school years. And what are you going to do? Not raise your own kids with the same Puritan rules, I hope. Stopping weddings. I attended a wedding in a city hall. The mayor said he's never heard someone say no, but he has already seen people who tried to stop weddings. He/she got ejected quickly, but it never affected the ceremony. I can't imagine that it didn't affect it whatsoever. Sure, they probably proceeded like normal, but surely the mood was off. Possible the family or other parties see the offender before the bride/groom. Seeing an ex-boyfriend walking up to the venue, you'd probably ask them what's up. come on. That's what the best man is there for. You should thank the ex for the full experience. Relentlessly pursuing an ex who clearly doesn't want you back. Sorry dude, leaving wine and roses in your ex-girlfriend's car while she's at work isn't cute. It's super creepy and stalkerish. I had an ex do similar. Creep me the fuck out. It's not all he loves her, it's holy shit I already told you to leave me the fuck alone. Why are you trying to contact me? And it's a trope that can fuck off. Thanks dude. I hate it. When couples are fake dating and trying to convince their family, then the family forces them to kiss in front of everyone to prove their love. No family would ever do this in real life. It's fucking weird. Like please, make out in front of Nana and your Uncle Ken. Oh buddy, where I grew up, Hispanic culture, if a boy and girl had any reason, simmering someone would chant, BC Bizo Bizo until everyone joined in. Bizo Bizo Bizo, lol. Yeah, this. I even named my, now 15, 5-year-old, dog Bessie me, the same. B/C she would not stop giving kisses the entire ride home when she was rescued on the freeway. Not taking no for an answer. Yes, I love the movie still. But the scene in The Notebook when Noah literally just dangles from the top of the Ferris wheel and essentially threatens suicide if someone who he's only met a couple times who has a boyfriend won't agree to go out with him is pure insanity. If you don't have a gun to your head and a gun to your crush's head, then it's not real love. Words to live by or die by. Extremely old vampires dating 16-year-olds. Imagine being so creepy and low life that after 100 years of lifetime and having superpowers, you still go to a local high school every day to stalk teenage girls. I never understood why he still went to high school when he clearly despised it, even though it says he was turned at / looks 17. Couldn't they just say he was 18 and recently graduated? Seems like a dumb reason to repeat high school 20 times. As much as I hate giving credence to Twilight, they actually explain this. Their reasoning is that, since every time they have to start over it's a bunch of work, everyone restarts their new life as young as possible. So the kids are all enrolled in high school, so they can squeeze 2 or 3 more years out of their new lives before they have to relocate and start all over again. But they could have just said they are being homeschooled. Bumping into the same person over and over again. I think that's called intercourse. Stealing their baby brother and taking them to the castle at the center of the labyrinth to eventually turn them into a goblin. I think that movie is pretty good at showing what a toxic relationship can look like. You can be fascinated and afraid of someone at the same time. I ask for so little. Just fear me, love me, do as I say, and I will be your slave. I love this line. Also, random fun fact. Bowie made all the baby noises in Dance Magic Dance because the actual baby noises were to shit. Everything you've wanted, I have done. You asked that the child be taken. I took him. You cowered before me. I was frightening. I have reordered time. I have turned the world upside down. And I done it all for you. I'm exhausted from living up to your expectations. But I asked for the baby back. Repeatedly. Sorry what? Can't hear you? You want a ball gown did you say? I got you fam. Therapists dating or having sex with their patients. Oh but they have such a deep connection. No. That's a malpractice lawsuit in the making. All I can think of is Lucifer. But this isn't the only creepy thing in that show. Edit. Why is this gaining many replies? Not that I would say no to replies. Robin dating her therapist in him. That was short-lived and unnecessary. I think they stopped therapy for that to work. Would this still be allowed? I roll. In Australia there's a waiting period of several years before psychologists can date former patients and psychiatrists never can. I imagine the US is similar though I can't say for sure. It's almost a better question to ask what isn't creepy. Nothing. The answer is nothing. This thread is really your time to shine. I feel like I should be taking notes. Username definitely checks out. Sending an ogre and a donkey to rescue them from a castle so you can force them to marry you so you can become a king to make up for your small stature. Make up for your small stature, right? Stature. Sure. Your username. Something about it, along with your comment, tickles something. Just not hitting the right places though. I give up. Obsessive and unrequited love, sometimes spanning years, that ultimately succeeds because the less interested party gets worn down and realizes they're a big dummy and they loved them after all. Edit RIP my inbox. Good thing I have nothing better to do this week, so I'm reading all your replies. I'm seeing a lot of this worked out for me. I'm sure it did. Not everyone meets and falls in love on the same schedule, and sometimes it's all in the timing. I'm happy so many of you all found an amazing person to spend your lives with. Maybe you're the exceptions and not the rule. I'm definitely not feeling extra single now. Maybe I'm bitter no one's obsessed with me. JK. That being said, I think being deluded and obsessed with someone where you've built them up in your head and have an idealized version of who they are is unhealthy. You don't want to be heralded from the stand, lol. Also PS tie for the awards. I know acknowledging them is lame, but my good manners never allow me to ignore it. It's super weird, but apparently it does happen. My GF was in a wedding for two people like this. The guy was obsessed with the girl in high school, but she never gave him the time of day. They stayed friends in college. She started developing feelings for him that sort of cascaded into her obsessing over him, but he had been friend-zoned so long that he didn't notice any of the hints. Now they are married and still completely obsessed with each other. Pitch it to the major networks. Didn't you know that's half the movies already on the Hallmark Channel or Lifetime? Lifetime Christmas movie. Woman magically finds the love of her life just before Christmas. Lifetime the rest of the year movie. Woman narrowly avoids being brutally raped and murdered just before the end of the movie. When they fight too much and always shut each other up with a kiss. Noah and Ali had nothing in common. Still that seemed romantic somehow. The Notebook. In The Notebook, Ryan Gosling's character literally built a house for his ex-girlfriend a decade after they split, who is now married to somebody else. Imagine if that was real life. Imagine your teenage boyfriend out of the blue just built a house and expected you to move in with him. Creepy AF. I have never seen The Notebook, and after reading all these comments I don't think I ever will. In all fairness, the book was pretty cringy too. The best thing about The Notebook was the costumes. They were perfect for that period. Chasing someone who already said no multiple times. If someone is already in a relationship, trying to break them up. Love at first sight. No, that's just lust and desire. Serenading them at their doorstep. LMAO. What about using posters to declare your love for your best mate's wife? I mean, Christmas is a time to tell the truth. Ah, yes, the best Christmas song ever written. I feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my toes. Love is all RO fuck, wank, bugger, shitting ass, head and hole. He makes that movie. Pursuing someone who is already in a relationship. Hitting on a client or customer. In movies the employee who does that is often charming and good looking, and it is reciprocated. In real life it is a fast way to get fired. Not taking no for an answer. Almost every hentai is like this too. I keep looking for ones with consent, but it's so hard to find. So I just settle for the ones where they say no a lot at first, then eventually give in, and I pretend the whole thing was just rollerplay. Sai Japan. Why you gotta be so rappy? Check out r/adorablehunte, _what, JPG. Showing up everywhere. Stalking. Keep pursuing someone after no. Watching people sleep. Looking at you Twilight. Showing up at someone's wedding to take the bride for yourself. Breaking through airport security to profess your love. Have fun getting tased and sent to prison, jackass. That honestly depends on when the movie was made or set. If it was written or set before the terrorist attack on the World Trade Centers, airport security was lax enough that running to meet people as they were boarding was perfectly legal. I always think it's weird that Love Actually talks about 9/11 in the opening scene, yet has the scene where the kid sneaks through security and outruns them to do this. Yeah, but it's a cute kid. Slightly different to grown adults sprinting through terminals. Pick you up at 8, more specifically they meet for the first time, have a connection. He suggests dinner. She's charmed. Then he says pick you up at 8, and then they part ways. No phone number, no address. Sometimes no agreement. But sure, it's a date and they're at the restaurant next scene, so why not? Romantically throwing rocks at someone's window to get their attention. Bruh, you better be ready to pay for insurance / throw paper balls. At 3 in the morning. Herald. So at 2 or 4 then. If you are new to TattleTale TV, please subscribe. We have new videos every day. Stay tuned for more coming up next.